As we continue our 9/11 coverage this morning, it still seems like a moment frozen in time for so many of us. It's hard to believe it has now been 22 years since the 9/11 terror attacks. Nearly 3,000 Americans lost their lives that day, and many more since then. And as we take a look back at this critical but difficult day in our history, I'm introducing you to a Valley man who's making sure that no one who served at Ground Zero is forgotten and is always remembered. Ask anyone who was alive on September 11th, 2001, and they'll be able to tell you exactly where they were when they saw these images for the first time. But not Mia Rumore. What kind of conversations have you had with your dad about 9/11?
I've had conversations like how it happened and how the planes were stolen and how they crashed. And it just makes me very sad, and I just don't like it.
Mia is only 9, but her dad, Anthony, definitely remembers that day.
It really feels like a lifetime ago.
He was there at the World Trade Center just hours after what is still the deadliest terror attack on American soil.
This I found as I was walking to Ground Zero. This is a piece of, it's a chart from one of the airplanes. From American Airlines.
Anthony now lives in Cave Creek with his family, but at the time, this native New Yorker was living on Long Island, serving in the Army National Guard, and raced to Ground Zero.
Packed my bags, kissed my mother goodbye, and I said, I'll see you whenever I do.
What was going through your mind? Were you worried you wouldn't see her again?
So, we're trained as military mission first, right? So, you really don't deal with feelings at that point or emotions.
It would literally take all day to get to Ground Zero because of all the chaos, the road closures, security checkpoints. But when Anthony finally arrived, this combat veteran tells me it was like something out of a war zone.
There is ash and soot on the ground, right? Debris everywhere, crushed vehicles, burning buildings, smoke. And there was people, Americans, that were behind these barricades, holding up pictures, screaming, please help me. It was just, it's undescribable seeing it on your home soil.
As a National Guard member, he became security at Ground Zero. He says they were the first line of defense for all the rescue teams.
And a lot of people don't know that the military played a huge part of it. The first 3 days, we didn't have any respiration apparatus, right? So we're breathing in all of these toxins, right? But again, when we weren't thinking about ourselves, we were thinking about the mission at hand.
Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for making the nation proud. And may God bless America.
Historic moments like President George W. Bush visiting the World Trade Center site, Anthony witnessed. In total, he'd be there for 3 unforgettable weeks. So many times people run away from danger. You ran towards it.
Again, that's the training that we get in the military. You know, you're trained to do a job.
While his assignment at Ground Zero may have come to an end 22 years ago.
It brings me back, when I look at it, it brings me back to that day of walking down to Ground Zero.
Now his new task is passing along the tales of heroism, of bravery, of togetherness to the next generation. Do you think your dad's a hero?
Yes, I think he's really awesome.
And we think Anthony and the rest of our heroes from 9/11 are also pretty awesome, Mia. Well said. Speaking of those heroes, let's run down some of the stats. The World Trade Center Health Program was created after the 9/11 attacks and has been reauthorized until the year 2090. This is a live look at New York behind me, by the way. Here's some brand new data I just got from the CDC. About 86,000 first responders have signed up for these benefits, and nearly 40,000 survivors have signed up so far. The most common conditions they see treated: chronic sinus infections, followed by GERD, asthma, also sleep apnea, and PTSD. Now, as for Anthony, he tells me that he has asthma and he does suffer from PTSD. He got from Ground Zero, his experience there. He's also a combat veteran from the war in Iraq and was injured. We'll dive deeper into Anthony's time overseas coming up in a story in the future. But in the meantime, I just admire him so much for making sure that we never forget Iris.
And, you know, so many stories, perspectives that come out of 9/11. So thank you for sharing just one of the many that we will always continue to remember here from that day.